Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
Bubbles on the Beach, the 5th annual, is coming up this Saturday night at the Beach Club Resort. It's all about from fish to fork. We're talking with island scallops and a whole lot more on this edition of Go Island. On today's show, taking a ride in a strawberry smoothie, enough is enough at Lansville's Compassion Farm, and a road trip to Strathcona Park. That and more in the next 30 minutes. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. This is Rob Saunders. He's with Island Scallops. We're going to look at some live scallops, find out about how plentiful they are here in our local waters, how in demand they are around the world, and then we're going to show you how to cook them. But first, we're throwing things over to Rayanne LaPlante. She's taking a ride in a 1939 Ford. It's called Strawberry Smoothie. I almost thought Rayanne was going to call that a minimalist car, but then they went under the hood, and I know that that is the farthest from the truth. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're here with Rob Saunders from Island Scallops. He started the hatchery 22 years ago, and you've brought what here today?
This is the giant Pacific scallop.
And they are alive right now.
Yep. They just came out of the water about 4 hours ago. They're good for a few days.
Good for a few days without being in water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now there's about a dozen different varieties of scallops,
right.
You were saying.
Yep.
Is this one particularly good for eating and matching with some bubbly wine that we're going to get to in a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. This is actually a hybrid scallop. It's a Japanese scallop crossed with a local weather vane scallop.
Okay.
And we've been growing this, as you said, for about 22 years now.
And it's fairly large.
Fairly large. Yeah, it produces a large meat.
Okay.
Something like that from one of those animals.
Excellent. We're going to cook some of those later on this edition of Go Island. We always talk about local, eating local, and not only giving back to the economy that's here, but enjoying the quality of the food that we have. Fish to fork is how it's being referred to at this year's annual Bubbles on the Beach. But these scallops get shipped all over the world. So even though they're local and yummy to us, there's other people who are appreciating what we have and maybe what we take for granted.
Absolutely. I mean, these are grown by a number of farms. Not just our own. There's the Waiwaki up at Campbell River grow them, and they ship them. We ship to U.S. and to Singapore, Hong Kong.
Okay.
So different growers ship it to different customers, obviously.
Now we are going to cook them later. You can eat them raw, much to the eek factor of Derek Johnstone behind the camera today. These ones are particularly good for eating, would you say?
Absolutely.
I feel like it's going to squish my finger. If I put my finger in, will it kind of bite me?
No. It's a swimming response when it claps like this.
Okay.
It's escape from starfish.
Okay. How many scallops do you eat in a week or a month?
Well, we eat at least half a pound a week, I suppose.
Okay. And how many is this right here?
These are about 10 to the pound.
Okay.
So if you half pound would be 5 scallops, so which is about what this is.
Excellent. Well, we're going to cook up about a half a pound of scallops later on this edition of Go Island. Before we do that, we will give you more information on the upcoming Bubbles on the Beach event that takes place this Saturday. But first, we're revisiting a story that Jocelyn Matwee did earlier this summer. Dirk Becker and Nicole Shaw are selling their 2.75 acres, known to many as Compassion Farm, and the center of a whole lot of controversy around urban farming in Lansville. Dirk and Nicole are still in the process of selling their house and property. In the meantime, they are looking for a new location for Compassion Farm, and although it would be cheaper for them to look for a rural setting, they are hoping to stay close to Nanaimo because that's where they feel they can make the most difference and make the most change. They're going to continue with their passion of promoting sustainable food on Vancouver Island. We'll be back with more after a short break on Go Island. Still to come today on Go Island, fostering animals in need, Birdseye Cove in Maple Bay, and wandering through Strathcona Park. That's still ahead today on Go. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. What a glorious spot to host an event called Bubbles on the Beach. When you hear that phrase, you might think of your childhood days of blowing bubbles, carefree on the sand, running through places exactly like this here in Parksville. But once you grow up and you think bubbles, you probably think sparkling wine. When you think beach, maybe you think seafood, and that's exactly what you should be thinking for the 4th annual Bubbles on the Beach. Shauna Brookhausen is with the Beach Club Resort. The 4th annual?
Yes.
Kind of found the groove for the
Yes.
event now. What type of event is it for those of you who don't already know?
So Bubbles on the Beach, the concept is a fish to fork theme. We try and focus on local ingredients from a 100-mile radius, and then we also showcase wines from Vancouver Island, BC, and a few from around the world.
Are there very many sparkling wines available from the island, first of all, and then broader in British Columbia?
Good question. When we first started out the event, we tried to just focus strictly on sparklings, but there isn't quite enough on Vancouver Island. Right. So we kind of had to move it out to BC, and now we still include some from Australia and some from France and Italy.
It's becoming a bit of a calendar marker, this event, I think. It signifies the end of summer, a transition into fall, and doing it away with some good flavors, some good people here representing what's available in our region. In addition to the seafood with island scallops, in addition to the sparkling wines from various vendors, there's a suckling pig, and what else can we expect?
Yes, we also have hot chocolates from Courtney. They're coming up to do some chocolate for us. We have Samantha Ray, who will be painting a model showcasing one of the champagne bottles or sparkling wine bottle that night. And then we also have the Wellington Jazz Band from Nanaimo. So lots of local artists, and we try and reach out to our communities around the area.
And it sells out. There's only, what I heard, 90 tickets available. Is that right?
Right now, that's about what's left, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As of right now, by the time you're seeing it, there's even less than that. So don't delay. You can contact the Beach Club Resort in Parksville to get your spot for the event of the year in the Oceanside area. And that's debatable because there's other fantastic events that take place in the area at various times throughout the year. And I'm rambling now, so it's a really good time to throw things over to Kelly Robinson. She looks into what's involved in not adopting, but fostering animals in need. Here's Kelly. Hope has found her forever home, but there are lots of other animals in need. If you're interested in finding out more and seeing what animals need help right now, you can contact your local branch of the BC SPCA. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4, moving from cats to birds, Bird's Eye Cove, that is, in Maple Bay. Sucheta Singh introduces us to the people there and the way of life and some pretty unusual cows. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're not going to leave you in suspense anymore. We're going to cook up some scallops from Island Scallop. Ron Saunders says it takes about 30 seconds to cook scallops. If you want them cooked, you can eat them raw.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what have you got in the pan? Just a little bit of olive oil?
This is the only secret that I'm going to pass on.
Okay.
When you cook scallops, clarify the butter first.
What does that mean?
You melt the butter, and all the milk proteins sink to the bottom.
Okay.
You use just to clarify it. So it doesn't burn.
Okay.
Doesn't burn the scallops, and it gets hot. Quick fry. Pss, pss,
Okay.
that's it.
Would you want to use something like olive oil? Or?
It's olive oil. It tends to, at the higher temperatures, start to burn, right?
Okay.
So.
Now, I know with shrimp or prawns, you really are just getting to the point where you're changing the color.
Yeah.
And is it the same thing?
Caramelize it just slightly, and and the other trick is don't put too many in, because you'll cool the pan down, and then they turn rubber. So you don't want to do that.
Okay.
So actually, that was told to me by one of the chefs in Vancouver. Is you're cooking it all wrong. Clarify your butter, because it does tend to burn. So let's see if it's still a little.
So you want that sizzling.
Yep. And just a little bit of salt and pepper if you like.
Okay.
Not
you do
a
that
lot.
on both sides. Yep. Okay.
These are large scallops. So the other thing you can do is you tend to butterfly them. So you'll take one out and you'll cut it in half.
Right.
So there's a second muscle here that's fast acting. So you cut it in half like this.
So that's what a scallop is. It's a muscle.
It's a muscle, yeah. It's what allows them to clap their shell together to swim away from starfish.
Okay. They couldn't get away from us though. Couldn't get away from you.
And so, once it's starting to turn brown like that,
Yep.
that's all you need.
And then would you serve it, plate it with anything? We're not going to put it.
I like just a little bit of a basil, butter, cream cheese sauce. Just enough to coat it, not to overwhelm it, because
okay.
it's fairly delicate and you can, overwhelm it
Right.
completely. I use a blood orange reduction as well. It's very nice because it's got that little tart, but otherwise you don't. I got accused in the beginning of overcooking them and putting too
Right.
much stuff on it.
And I think people do that. They tend to overcook because they're scared of undercooking.
Yeah.
But you can eat it raw, so you don't have to worry about undercooking it. It's pure taste at that point.
Yeah.
It's a very mild flavor.
It is.
Is it not? So if you're sort of trying to introduce seafood into your menus and get your palate used to it, scallops are a pretty good place to start.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that smells so good now.
So it's a little basil, right? This is
Yeah.
actually one of my favorite sauces. So you can just toss it lightly on that.
Okay. They're nutritious, aren't they?
Absolutely. And
Very lean, high nutrient,
no bad things,
no bad things.
bad things.
Except the butter.
except for the butter. So, here, do you want to try some?
I do. I'm worried about it being too hot now, though.
Yeah, of course.
Is it going to be too hot?
Low on it.
Okay. And that's it.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to actually let it. I'm going to eat it off camera, and you'll join me then too,
Okay.
right? Okay. So while we enjoy this, which you can also be doing at Bubbles on the Beach on Saturday, August the 31st, we're going to throw things over now to a road trip. Marjorie Greaves visits Strathcona Park. Oh,
Good?
that's very good. Have I mentioned lately how much I actually love my job? We get to take road trips to these fantastic places and enjoy wonderful locally harvested scallops here at the Beach Club Resort in Parksville.
Kate, and you need to pair that with something.
And it just keeps getting better and better. What is the best thing do you suggest?
Well, I'm featuring one of the sparkling wines that we'll be showcasing at Bubbles, and it's found in the Blue Mountain Vineyard in South Okanagan. It is a brut, so it's quite dry, but you'll find it pairs beautifully
Okay.
with the scallop.
Now, why do you think this is a good match? And here I am talking with my mouth full.
I would say it's maybe the lack of protein in the scallop. There's no fat in the protein, but I also say it's a big part to do with the sparkling that's chosen. It is a brut, it's very dry, so there are no sugars in it at all.
Okay, well, cheers.
Cheers, Kate.
Bubbles, the grown-up kind, on the beach, August 31st here at the Beach Club.
Cheers.
Cheers. Very good.
One more.
I know we're out now.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's hair and aesthetics provided by Matteo Salon.